This meeting of the Tyler ISD Board of Trustees is called to order. There's presence of a quorum, and the meeting has been duly called, and the notice of the meeting has been posted in the time and manner required. Thank you all for coming out today to this workshop. Do we have any public participation? Nope. Okay. We'll roll right into the safety and security update. Agent Millslagle.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Board, President Washman, Dr. Crawford, of course, Miss Orr. I am here. I last saw you guys in April. A lot has happened, especially with TEA and the School Safety Center. So we'll dive into that and kind of tell you what we know and what we've done and what we're going to do in the future regarding school safety. So as you guys are aware, the School Safety Center is now working with TEA's safety czar, Mr. Scott. And they've come up with a new thing that we haven't seen before. It's not in writing yet, but they've told me over the phone that they're going to do vulnerability assessments of every campus in the state of Texas over the next 4 years. So when that comes out, I will let you know what it looks like. But it's going to be similar to the district audit report that we completed over the summer, which was for the last 3 years of every campus. And that was submitted on August the 19th. And it was accepted, so we're good to go there. There were no problems. We're ahead of the game. We've been ahead of the game for about 2 years. So as we move forward, we're trying to keep ahead of that curve. So with the grant that we received earlier this summer, which is a little over $800,000, we've spent that on a number of areas that are required, and we are in compliance as of September the 1st. And the first compliance is armed officers at every school. Chief Brown has done an excellent job in hiring officers. Currently, 2 are in training. They'll be deployed next week, and 1 is recovering from an injury, and she'll be deployed when she's able to walk around the campus, but that should be in the next couple of weeks. This includes, as I said, armed personnel, door hardware. We're replacing everything that's not working, and we've hired 2 people to do that for us, and they're busy 24/7. Impact film. That is a film we put on 2 years ago in our vestibules. We have 9 pallets of film coming to our office this week, hopefully, or maybe early next week, and it'll be starting to be installed in 2 weeks on any window that somebody could physically step through. So anything that goes down to the ground where you could step through, that'll have film and caulk on it. It'll be clear see-through. Fencing. Thank you for the fence at Jack. I've heard good and bad, but it's what we needed to do because it was wide open. We're adding a little bit of fencing at Birdwell and at Caldwell that is unscalable or non-scalable, whatever they're calling it this week, and a little bit at DAP. It's less than 40 feet total. So we're in compliance there. And last but not least on this is the silent panic technology. I've been working with Joseph Jacks and Single Wire, our phone system, where we'll have a hot button and it'll go to all the teachers have access to it, all the administrators, custodians, anybody that has access to a phone. And on your phone is an app where you can hit a button and it goes to us and everybody else so we know what's going on. So if there's an incident in the school, and it will also flash up on all the flat panels that we purchased, I think 1,500 of them, that will say lockdown, secure, hold. And anybody can use that. They'll be trained on it, but that's being rolled out in the next few months. It's required to be in place by the end of the school year. So we're ahead of that curve also. Earlier this month, received information from the Texas School Safety Center that we must update our emergency operations plan. That'll be easy, but they've also added a severe weather annex, a hazardous materials annex, and a train derailment appendix. And you'd think, well, train derailments, we've just got a couple of lines going through Tyler. Well, unfortunately, that includes all the old right-of-ways that there's never been a train on for the last 50 years. So we tried to reach out for them and say, this is unheard of. They haven't had a train going down here in 50 years, and it's a right-of-way.
Even like Legacy Trail?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
That is correct. I shouldn't have said yep, but yeah.
Which goes from Pete
Yeah,
all the way down
all the way
Gresham.
down to Gresham in front of 3 Lakes. So that has to just be included as a line item. We did great this last year with our intruder audits. Those begin next week. We're on notice, and they're going to hit us every month until they get every campus done. We were 100%. I want to remain that way. I talked to the principals about this. We've done great. Let's not make a mistake along the way, because we would get written up, and then I would have to come see you in executive session as to what happened. Something that's been out there for 2 years or more is the light at Tyler High. Hopefully, in the next 3 weeks, TxDOT will approve that. I talked to the city yesterday. They're waiting on their 4 projects and ours, and they said probably the first week in October, TxDOT will say thumbs up or thumbs down, and we're hoping we put our best foot forward. We are full on the crossing guards for the first time in 3 years. So we have crossing guards at all of our campuses, and they even have an additional crossing guards coming on board. The city has notified their crossing guards that they are no longer going to be handling it, and beginning next school year, it will be on Tyler Independent School District to hire the crossing guards and deploy them. We're going to use the same schematic that they've used for the last 5 years. We'll tweak it a little bit, but they're on notice that they're coming to us. So we'll have to add some positions to administer that program. School zones have been lowered to 20 miles an hour. In most of our school zones, some of them remain at 25 and at 35, depending on the width of the road and who controls the road, TxDOT versus the city of Tyler. Smart detectors. We've added them to all of the middle schools except for Hubbard, because it's going down, but it'll be in the new Hubbard. They're going off daily. This vape problem continues. And I've been working with Rachel Barber and John Johnson to figure out when our students are caught with a THC vape or even a nicotine vape, what are they going to do at DAP, an educational program. So Ms. Barber's working on that along with John Johnson. We've added them at DAP, one of the most secure places we've had, and unfortunately they're going off at DAP. These things can get through a metal detector. They look like the highlighter we all had in college, the pink ones, the yellow ones, the green ones. They look just like that, and you can buy them anywhere. And I mean anywhere as close as where we're at 6th and Broadway. There's a vape shop there that sells these things to our kids. As I said earlier, in our upgrades going forward, it's some fencing, and that should be done in the next 30 days. And then we're looking at all the cameras inside the schools. We have about 2,000 now, and I bought this last year an extra 50 to not worry about supply chain. We got a discount, so they're in stock, and our vendors are going to be putting those in places and replacing some of the 7, 8-year-old cameras that we have. And then last but not least, we are now on the Region 7 Safety and Security meeting that happens at Region 7. There's about 40 of us, and they bring us up to date on Senate Bill 3, things that we're doing, and what TEA is going to be mandating coming down the road. And that's really it, subject to any questions.
Thank you. Anybody on the board have any comments or questions? I have one on the Silent Panic app, I
Yes.
guess. Who all will, I mean, is it just teachers, employees?
Everybody.
Just everybody?
Even if you folks on the board want to have it, you can
Yeah.
have it because you're here. And if you see something, you can press the button. It'll be on the Chromebooks that we're going to give to the kids. But if they hit it, we've got to control how that works.
Right.
But it will be.
Know who it came from.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it can be disabled, my understanding, when they leave campus. So if it's just from 8 to 4, if a kid sees something, he can type it in.
Okay.
And it goes, there's a clearing for that, so it won't go like
Yeah.
the balloon's going off and you can't bring it down.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, a quick question. The door hardware, you said some of it's not working. Is this the hardware we recently put on that's faulty or?
No, the new stuff is fine.
Okay.
We're getting to a end of the lifespan for
Okay.
crash bars and things like that.
Oh, okay,
And so we're
okay, yeah.
replacing that. The unfortunate thing is we've had to replace them at our 2 new high schools. Some of them
Yeah.
are still under warranty, thank
Yeah,
goodness,
Yeah, okay.
because the price is up like 40%.
Yeah.
over the
Okay.
last year.
And then the other question was related to the school zone speed. Who does that?
Excuse
Was that a state, the speed in the school zone?
School zone is done by the Tyler Traffic Board,
Okay,
okay, and they set the parameters through the city traffic engineer. I go down and listen. They meet a couple times a year, and then it must go to the city council to change the ordinance for
okay.
the city to lower or raise a school zone, or add a school zone, or get rid of one.
So we only have control of the ones that are on our city streets and not on the loop or,
The loop is controlled by TxDOT.
okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So we can't decrease the speed from 35 to 20?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's the question, yeah. Okay.
Three Lake School Zone,
Yes.
TxDOT,
I'd have to check. I don't,
Dixie School Zone 64?
Dixie
TxDOT?
School Zone is TxDOT.
Okay.
No, the school zone at Three Lakes is the city of Tyler.
Okay. But TxDOT is
TxDOT
64.
64.
What
And the
about,
loop.
in front of Owens?
From the Owens, that's a unique one. That is the county.
Okay.
But we, Tyler
That's the
ISD
county.
operates the flashing lights.
I know all of this. I'm just throwing you softballs out there. Do we still have deer stand camera or game camera technology inside of that zone down there at Owens?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's checked regularly by maintenance.
So that's something we installed.
Or I think we inherited it and
Okay.
then we installed.
Who's supposed to do it?
That's a real good question. I've had that conversation with Mr. Loper, and nobody seems to know. No one wants to take
Okay.
responsibility for maintaining that area or keeping the batteries up other than us.
I do know the history of that. Yeah. So just for the public to know that whenever we have that issue down there by Owens, that's like a three-entity issue, the school system, the city, and the county that doing this.
Correct.
Okay, good. Three things real quick, just to let the board know, you kind of alluded to it a little bit. The inflation on the materials and the cost is ridiculous.
That is
I think
correct.
I think we got a 20 or 40 cent raise per student for our school safety allotment this last legislative session with a lot of requirements. Now, there is some grant dollars that we're applying for and we've been awarded.
Yes.
But there's some things that are not covered inside that grant that are coming out of your general budget to cover.
Yes, those would be radios, cameras, the
Yeah.
you know,
And so
those kind of things.
we sure would like our legislature to consider that for us in future legislative sessions. Other thing, thanks to the board for having the foresight to fund a fully forced police department.
Yes.
There's a lot of school systems, school districts that have the capacity to go and hire one for every campus that are choosing not to do it. There's also other ones like a Dallas ISD that have no chance whatsoever to go and hire one for every campus because of what the cost of a police officer would, to be competitive, plus the supply, the job supply, the personnel supply out there is just not there. So we're very pleased to be able to live in a community that backs that initiative and a board that funds that initiative because y'all have the courage and the stomach to actually put a police officer on every campus when that's not the most popular thing to do nationally. But our police officers are good people. Having lunch with our kids, most of them are retired TPD, so they know the culture in Smith County. And so we're not over-policing our campuses or our kids. They're not even involved in the discipline, sometimes to our chagrin, Rojo. Correct? So I'm glad that they're present. I think our parents appreciate it, so thank you all for that. And lastly, thanks to the taxpayers for the facilities that they've provided over the last 20 years. Agent Millslagle here has given you the description about some of the things that we've had to do. We have not talked about having to add secure vestibules. A lot of the fencing has been taken care of. The fencing adjustments that we've had
Or minor.
are minor compared to what some of your other school systems are having to do. We have no portables district-wide. And that, can you imagine what that would have looked like 10 years ago when we still had 20-plus portables on Broadway up there? You had all the portables at Tyler High. You had all the portables at Legacy. So thanks to the community for that. Thanks for the board for having the leadership, all the different board members we've had on here for the last 20 years to call these elections and for the community to support us so that we can adequately secure our facilities. So.
And it really saved me a lot of time in the district audit tool. It was 8 pages if you had portable buildings. So thank you, I didn't have to fill that out.
It's all about you, Agent Millslagle. I appreciate your work, though, Agent Millslagle. Your job is fairly new in education. And I went to superintendent school, and that was not part of it. So thank you for what you're doing.
Well, I've got a great team, and thanks
You
for
do.
adding the 3 guys.
And police department's doing. Y'all work very well together. Very appreciative of that.
Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you for your report.
Have a great day.
Appreciate you. Okay, moving on to an enrollment update.
Yeah, this is something we kind of added about 5 years ago, just to let y'all know kind of where trends are happening. You've got the data in front of you. As you can see, as we've cleaned up registration, along with no-shows and people who started the school year here and then Labor Day decided to either move on or folks actually came in. I have an updated number for you that's actually current as of September 7th. I think what you have in front of you, what was sent to you was last week. Then you had or maybe what you had was from September 5th or September 7th, which is today. We actually have 18,296 students, which is up from last year at 18,285. Yeah, 85. So if you're wondering what September of 2021 looked like, we were at 17,807. So we're in a good position. We are in certainly in a lot better position enrollment-wise than some of our peers who are what these would call these single city center type of school systems. So if you think of San Angelo, you think of Wichita Falls, you think of Abilene, those at one time comparatively were about the same size as Tyler ISD. And we've been able to have some very well-controlled, well-manageable growth or staying flat, which is a good problem to have as opposed to going the other direction. So proud to be able to offer the opportunities we have here in Tyler ISD to make our enrollment healthy. Actually, attendance is up compared to this time last year, 0.25%. Now, y'all may giggle at that, but it's hard to increase attendance. And if you think about the number of at-bats that you have of 18,200, almost 18,300 kids coming to school every day, what that attendance rate to shift that 0.25% even means. So that is improvement. And we're very pleased with that. I think our teacher attendance is up as well by about the same amount. It does mean revenue. Doesn't mean a whole lot of revenue that you're getting in. It's just revenue that's not being kept away from you when your attendance improves. So there's a little bit of an enrollment update for y'all. Take questions.
Any questions? Looks like a little bit of a dip in middle school, just if I'm looking at Hubbard, Moore, Three Lakes, Bolter. Looks like Three Lakes gained some, but the other ones.
Yeah, that kind of goes in your cohort rates of, your kindergarten birth rates that you looked at 15 years ago in your, or maybe 13, anywhere from 10 to 15 years ago, whenever you do your demographic studies. It's not like that they're people that they're just leaving. So what you might see is that while you've got some of your middle schools are down in enrollment, you may look at your freshmen, your ninth grade classes may be up. And that's kind of what's attributed to at Legacy, that you've got a few more kids in that freshman class than you typically normally have at 761.
Like Jack, first grade's 100, but second grade's 127. It's just a bigger cohort.
Yeah, so second grade at Jack, in their 4 classes is going to require, or they have 5 classes there, we're going to require an aide, 2 aides or 1? In second grade? Yeah, so, yeah, there's just those, this is kind of a whack-a-mole that you play annually on trying to predict how many teachers you need in a certain grade level so we can tightly budget that. And so that is a pretty good example, Mr. Washman. Yes, sir.
What would we like to see enrollment at? Do we have a goal of what percentage we'd like to see there?
I think, yeah, 18.3 is a healthy number for us.
No, for a percentage of, attendance. my
Oh,
bad.
attendance?
Yeah.
Man, Mr. Leverett, COVID, it was already not popular for kids to go to school. And then when COVID happened, you're looking now at when we're in the 95s, and we need to hang out in the 95s. But last year, we were struggling just to keep our head afloat at 93. You know, for the year. I'm not just talking about right now. At the first of the school year, obviously, and people aren't getting sick for whatever RSV or flu's going around at that time. Plus just the stamina of kids going to school. Mom, I need a day. Okay. I mean, it's just a little different parenting that's going on now than what probably we were all used to. You know, my dad running home and grabbing me out of my bed and standing me up and saying, "You're going to school." We don't get a lot of that anymore. And then COVID. I mean, as soon as somebody gets a sniffle or a cough, we've had it on my daughter's volleyball teams, like, oh my gosh, here we go. And then even in my own family, things like that. So everybody's a little bit more aware now and doing the right thing to say, man, I'm gonna give you a day just to kind of see if this is a thing or not. So yeah, 95 is great. We'd love to be at 96, old school days, 97, 98, but I think those days are probably long gone.
Any other questions on enrollment, comments? Okay, thank you for the update. Now we're moving on to our Head Start Annual Leadership and Governance Training.
Brandy Holland, Director of Head Start, will provide you your annual required leadership and governance training for us participating with Head Start. Ms. Holland.
Yes, sir. Good morning, President Washman, to all the board members assembled, Dr. Crawford, and to the 12 people that are here this morning. This is your Head Start Annual Leadership and Governance Training. So in order for the Head Start program to function, we have to have 3 entities that are in place for our 5-year grant. We are currently in year 4 of our grant, but every year we do have to reapply. So it starts with the governing body, and that is you, the school board members. And so it is our job to make sure that we are keeping you abreast of all of the annual updates that we have to submit to the Office of Head Start, in addition to just the day-to-day activities that take place, and then the monthly updates that we submit as well. We also have the Policy Council. The Policy Council is made up of 2 parents from all 10 of our Head Start classrooms. They are nominated by the parents in those classrooms, and we meet monthly with them at Pete Elementary to make sure that we are sharing with them all of the updates for Head Start, any fiscal matters, and the Policy Council has to approve anything that we bring to them prior to the board. And then we move on to the management staff. The management staff is the Head Start leadership team, and that is my team. There are 9 members of my team, and we just handle the day-to-day basics of the Head Start program. We take care of all of the annual updates that need to go forth, any fiscal matters, and then we take it to the Policy Council, and then it goes before the board. In Head Start, we have what are called the Head Start Head Start Performance Standards. They're very similar to the TEKS or the pre-K guidelines that teachers use. And so the Head Start Performance Standards basically tell us what we must do in order to stay in compliance with the Head Start grant. We do have manuals available for those, but they are now on the internet, on the ECLIC website, and they are accessible to you on the link that's provided in your presentation. So for Head Start, in order to be eligible, you must be before or by September the 1st. We also do accept some 3-year-olds, but they have to be, they have to have a Tyler ISD diagnosed disability to be eligible for Head Start if they are 3 years old. You're also eligible if you are homeless or foster, and then of course you have to fall below the poverty guidelines for Head Start. For those students that are above, we push those applications to income-based pre-K or tuition-based I have provided for you also a copy of the poverty guidelines. We do ask our parents to bring proof of income. It is one of the required documents, in addition to their birth certificate to verify their age. And then we also do require our parents to bring proof of residency to make sure that they do reside in the Tyler ISD School District. So first, our parents go online February the 1st to fill out the online application, and we have parents chomping at the bit. We never have to basically solicit for students to be in our program. They're there February the 1st waiting to enroll. The second step is to come into our office for a parent meeting where we conduct a needs assessment on our families, and that allows us to place them based on their needs. So those students with the highest needs get placed first in the 200 spots that we have. Once we get that information, we enter into a system called Child Plus, and it actually puts those needs in order from the greatest to the least. Additionally, we are allowed to accept some students that are over income. 20 students is our max. We don't have to accept them, but we can. Granted that we have placed the students that do qualify based on income or foster or homeless first if there's space. And then last but not least, currently we have 198 students in seats of the 200 that we are allowed to have, and there are 25 students on the wait list. We are required to keep the seats filled in Head Start. So if a student withdraws, we have other students that are waiting to fill those seats at any time. And that completes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mrs. Holland about Head Start? I don't think we do. We appreciate
Holland,
you.
thank you for providing the board their training and providing that information, because I'm sure they get phone calls from constituents about wondering why their kid can't be in Head Start. And then boards, you've got another separate bucket of qualifiers, and that is nothing that Ms. Holland has to do, and that's your qualifying pre-K, income-based and other identifiers for that. And then you have tuition pre-K. So we deal with a pretty broad spectrum for early education, and this is one that you were given the training here about how you qualify and what the process is to actually get in. A lot of times we get very young parents that are maybe brand new parents that come up here and just think it's an automatic deal. We don't have to go through steps. Thou shalt enroll my kid in Head Start. But these federal government guidelines and structures they got in place, we got to follow those. So thank you.
Okay, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a couple of action items to get through. The first one is consider the approval of the Head Start annual report to the public for 2022 and 2023.
I move we approve the annual report.
Second. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Next is to consider the approval of the Internal Audit Services Annual Audit Plan.
Yeah.
2023 and 2024.
Ms. Coker, our chief audit executive, actually needs to come to the table because she has a declaration she needs to make sure that is recognized by the board, stated in public, to express her independence. Ms. Coker?
Thank you, Dr. Crawford, and good morning, everyone. So, every year I have to discuss my organizational independence, and up there it's actually the audit standards that bring this to your attention of why I need to do this. And so I must confirm to the board at least annually the organizational independence of the internal audit. So I do confirm that. And the other one is standard 1110A1, and that is to communicate to the board if I've had any interference with my audit work. And believe me, if I ever had any problems with that, I would go to my audit committee, and I actually have never had any problems with that. So I want to confirm that as well today. And then the other is to bring the audit plan, the new audit plan for 23-24 for review and approval. The audit committee has reviewed the results of the risk assessment and risk-based annual audit plan and have recommended to bring it to the board for approval. do y'all have any questions about the audit plan for this year?
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Well, being as I was on the audit committee for the first time, and it was a great joy. But I do want to thank Ms. Coker for the work she does, and I think we have a solid audit plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I entertain a motion approving the audit plan? I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the Internal Audit Service Annual Audit Plan.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Coker.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now go into executive session. And do we anticipate any action to follow, Dr. Crawford? No, sir. Okay, thank you.